Have you ever considered making armor out of insects? Ever felt the need to attach thousands of grasshoppers or beetles to make up a suit of armor? Probably not, and it would seem rather ridiculous, but this is mainly because insects in our world are too small, they're tiny. Though what if such insects were huge, large enough to harvest entire plates of chitin from? Recently on Fudge Muppet, we have been investigating all kinds of strange materials of the Elder Scrolls, and in particular their peculiar use in the creation of weapons and armor. Armor made of glass, armor made of ice, armor made of mythical Atlantean metals, and even armor made of bones. Well, today we are looking at armor and weapons made of insects, specifically chitin. So what is chitin? What is up, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Scott from Fudge Muppet, and today we are investigating the use of chitin in the creation of armor and weapons in the Elder Scrolls universe. So, like we have with our other investigations, let's have a look at the real-world substance chitin to look for any precedent use and give us a better understanding of the material, or at least the material's inspiration. In its pure, unmodified form, chitin is translucent, pliable, resilient, and quite tough. In most arthropods, which is a term that encompasses insects, crustaceans, arachnids, and myriapods, it is often modified, occurring largely as a component of composite materials. For example, the particular hardness of crustacean and mollusk shells is because of a combination of chitin and calcium carbonate, which produces a much harder and stiffer substance than pure chitin, but also tougher and less brittle than pure calcium carbonate. You could look at the flexible body wall of a caterpillar, which is mainly chitin, and compare it to the stiff, light elytra or shell of a beetle, which has a larger proportion of sclerotin in the chitin composite. So, insect bodies, exoskeletons, and shells all seem to possess some degree of the substance called chitin, but it is often intermixed with other composite materials. So how does this information help us? Well, as far as the Elder Scrolls is concerned, the term chitin is used to encompass all insect and crustacean exoskeletons and shells, including the variations in the compositions of materials. So on a technical level, the ingredient called mudcrab chitin is actually mudcrab chitin calcium carbonate composite, but that does not make for a catchy title, so the Elder Scrolls simply calls it all chitin, which is more or less correct because it all does contain chitin, just varying degrees of the substance. Regardless, we understand what chitin is, or what is meant by the term chitin, that is the exoskeletons and shells of arthropods, aka all the insect, crabby looking creatures of Tamriel. Obviously, the other huge difference between our real world and the world of Nirn is that there are no crustaceans or insects large enough to produce enough chitin that people would have thought the material usable for armor. Whereas in certain areas of Tamriel, specifically Morrowind, the subterranean depths of Skyrim, and also other areas of the continent, there exists insects or crustaceans large enough to be harvested for their chitin. Let's start by returning to Morrowind. We last talked about bone mold, how the Dunmer use crushed bones to create armor. Well, in the same vein, they use the exoskeleton and shells of Morrowind's various insectoid creatures to create a light armor that they simply call Chitin Armor. Chitin armor is constructed by laminating several layers of insect shell glued with organic resins, which creates a product superior to the Western leather armor in terms of weight and comfort. You can see this armor utilized by many Dunmer warriors, and it has particularly common use amongst the Ashlander tribes of Vardenfell, as the chitin provides the user protection from the harsh ash storms, much like it provided protection to the creature that the plates were once part of. In addition, many weapons are actually formed from this strong and flexible material, such as chitin clubs, daggers, spears, war axes, short swords, throwing stars, bows, and arrows. But the material does not seem to be used in the creation of heavier and longer weapons such as longswords, warhammers, and battle axes, likely due to its light weight and the shapes of the plates that are available. This all brings into question, what creatures exactly do they make all this armor from? Well, in the land of Morrowind, there exists many different insectoid creatures, but the most common and most likely source of chitin is from the Quama. You see, in Morrowind, besides salt rice, their primary agricultural production is Quama. Now, Quama is an insect that live in mines and have multiple life stages. A Quama queen inhabits a cave or mine, it produces lots and lots of eggs, The Dunmer harvest these eggs and then use them as a primary food to feed their civilization, and they are also exported. Now, quama that grow beyond the egg and then the larval form called scribs then become quama foragers, quama workers, or quama warriors, and presumably some become quama queens. Quama warriors, workers, and queens also possess exoskeletons and are quite large. The prevalence of these creatures to me indicates that they would be commonly used as sources of chitin, especially considering that they already farm the quama for eggs. Other sources would include creatures such as the arthropod nixhounds that roam in packs, as well as potentially siltstriders, though likely only after they die naturally because siltstriders serve much better as transport and cargo carriers. But really, any chitin from any large insect-like creature would do. There are various insectoid helmets from creatures not present in the game Elder Scrolls III Morrowind, but presumably exist throughout the land. Helmets such as the Telvanni cephalopod helm, which is likely from a sea creature, as real-world cephalopods are sea creatures. There is the Telvanni mole crab helm, which is presumably from a mole crab, likely named so because they hide in holes like moles, hence why you don't see them. And there is also the Telvanni dust adept helm, which looks very strange. I'm not even sure if it is an insect chitin or just some kind of bone mold kind of thing. Another type of chitin armor in Morrowind, while not explicitly called chitin, would be the dreg shell armor. Dregs are a type of crustacean octopus-type creature with both aquatic and land forms. They are found all over Tamriel, but it is the Dunmer inclination towards chitin armor that seems to have produced the dreg shell armor. So we've talked about how the natives of Morrowind have utilized chitin in the creation of their armor and weapons, but there is another culture that we have had close interaction with in the Elder Scrolls V Skyrim that uses chitin in the creation of their weapons, armor, tools, and even houses. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we are talking about another group of elves, however their current forms are a far cry from their once regal and enlightened Merethic selves. I am indeed talking about the Falmer, the blind creatures who live in the depths of Skyrim's caves and Dwemer cities, the twisted snow elves of eras past. The Falmer have a very close relationship with the creature called the Chaurus, which they are dependent upon for food, armor, and weapons. They are the Falmer's livestock. A Chaurus is based off the real-world insect called an earwig, but real earwigs are rather tiny compared to the monstrous size of Skyrim's Chaurus. The Chaurus inhabits swamps, marshlands, and the deep underground caverns which the Falmer also inhabit. If you were to visit the typical Falmer-infested cave, you would find yourself surrounded with tent-like houses made of chitin, in addition to the bridges and fences that incorporate its use. Even their chests are made from the material. The Falmer themselves wear either sporadic pieces of Chaurus chitin guarding their forearms and other essentials, or they can be fully kitted out in a set of heavy or hardened armor made from the very same Chaurus. They even have weapons such as bows, arrows, swords, and war axes made from the Chaurus chitin, but like the chitin weapons of Morrowind, there are no heavier weapons like warhammers or battle axes, presumably for the same reasons. Chitin is simply not heavy enough, or it doesn't come in the right shapes to be made into these heavier two-handed weapons. However, there do exist Falmer staves made of Chaurus chitin, but they aren't actually designed to hit things with, instead being a channeling tool for magic. There is one other type of chitin that you can find in Skyrim, a rare type of chitin that can be used to create a unique helmet. This would be the shellbug chitin, which can be mined from a creature called the shellbug that lives within the caves of the Forgotten Vale. You can use that chitin to create this interesting looking helmet called the shellbug helmet, which goes very nicely with the Falmer heavy armor, weighing less and offering slightly more protection. Also, fun fact, the shellbug helmet worn with the heavy Falmer armor still delivers you the matching set bonus from the heavy armor perk matching set. So we've had great exposure to the use of chitin in both Morrowind and Skyrim, mainly used for its accessibility, but also its lightweight and flexibility, but it can still be quite strong depending on the creature it comes from. But what about the other places of Tamriel? I did say that the dregs are found all across Tamriel, especially along the coasts. Could those other cultures not make armor from their chitin? Or what about the assassin beetles or giant scorpions of Hammerfell? Could the Redguards not use their chitin to create weapons and armor? Surely some large insects inhabit the lands of Blackmarsh. It definitely is a possibility, but kind of like the situation with the bone mold, the chitin armor and weapons seem to come about out of some kind of necessity or perhaps even convenience. The Falmer restricted to the underground needed some kind of material for tools and protection, and conveniently they can use the Chorus as both a food source and something that provides them with chitin for weapons, armor, tools, and housing. Same deal with the Dunmer and their Quama. They use the Quama in their primary agriculture, already harvesting their eggs, so why not also use their chitin for weapons and armor, along with all the chitin from the numerous and available creatures of the alien land? It seems that the examples we have of chitin's common usage come from places and situations where it is either convenient and or necessary to use the material over others, hence why other cultures such as Hammerfell, for example, may not have adopted its usage in their weapons and armor, even though large insects with harvestable chitin inhabit their lands. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That is how and why chitin is used in the creation of armors and weapons, as well as sometimes tools and architecture. Like the video if you enjoyed learning about all the chitin, and let me know down below in the comments what is your favorite use of chitin in the Elder Scrolls. Which piece of dead insect do you like to wear on your character? I personally am a big fan of the Telvanni Cephalopod helm, but I also just love the uniqueness of chitin in general for when I get a bit bored of typical metal armors. I'm always down for a little bit of crazy fantasy, the more out there stuff, the alien stuff. Thanks so much for watching, guys. We really appreciate the support you guys give us, and we can't wait to make some more awesome videos for you coming daily. So do subscribe to the channel if you have not already. Thanks again. My name is Scott from Fudge Muppet, and I'll be back to nerd out with you again next time.